Hello children, it's time for chapter 11 of Edward Tulane's miraculous journey. Remember, Lolly had put Edward unceremoniously into a rubbish bin and told her mother that she was going out to do errands. Well, let's find out what happens. Chapter 11. Edward ended up at the dump. He lay on top of orange peel, coffee grounds, rancid bacon and rubber tyres. The first night he was at the top of the rubbish heap, and so he was able to look up at the stars and find comfort in their light. In the morning a short man came climbing through the rubbish. He stopped when he was standing on top of the highest pile. He put his hands under his armpits and flapped his elbows. The man crowed loudly. He shouted, "Who am I? I'm Ernest, Ernest who is king of the world. How can I be king of the world? Because I am king of rubbish, and rubbish is what the world is made of. Therefore I am Ernest, Ernest who is king of the world," he crowed again. Edward was inclined to agree with Ernest's assessment of the world being made of rubbish, especially after his second day at the dump, when a load of rubbish was deposited directly on top of him. He lay there, buried alive. He could not see the sky. He could not see the stars. He could see nothing. What kept Edward going, what gave him hope, was thinking of how he would find Lolly and exact his revenge. He would pick her up by the ears. He would bury her under a mountain of rubbish. But almost 40 days passed and 40 nights passed, and the weight and the smell of the rubbish above and below him clouded Edward's thoughts, and soon he gave up thinking about revenge and gave in to despair. It was worse, much worse than being buried at sea. It was worse because Edward was a different rabbit now. He couldn't say how he was different. He just knew that he was. He remembered again Pellegrina's story about the princess who had loved nobody. The witch turned her into a warthog because she loved nobody. He understood that now. He heard Pellegrina say, "You disappoint me." "Why?" he asked her. "Why do I disappoint you?" But he knew the answer to that question too. It was because he had not loved Abilene enough. And now she was gone from him, and he would never be able to make it right. And Nellie and Lawrence were gone too. He missed them terribly. He wanted to be with them. The rabbit wondered if that was love. Day after day passed, and Edward was aware of time passing only because every morning he could hear Ernest performing his dawn ritual, cackling and crowing about being king of the world. On his 180th day at the dump, salvation arrived in the most unusual form. The rubbish around him shifted, and the rabbit heard the sniffing and panting of a dog. Then came the frenzied sound of digging. The rubbish shifted again, and suddenly, miraculously, the beautiful buttery light of late afternoon shone on Edward's face. That's the end of chapter 11. Well, we shall see if Edward has been rescued from the rubbish dump tomorrow in chapter 12. Until then, good night and God bless.